Emotions are powerful, yet most allow them to rule. Fear, anger, desire, they pull us unknowingly. True resilience begins in stillness. It begins in observation. It begins in choice. You cannot always change life. You can always master your response. Resilience is quiet. Resilience is deliberate. Resilience is strength unseen. Emotions are not enemies. They are signals, messengers of inner states and hidden patterns. Most people react immediately. Anger explodes, fear freezes, desire controls action. The dangerous mind pauses. It observes. It listens. It does not judge. Observation is the first step toward resilience. Notice the rise of an emotion. Notice its intensity. Notice the thought it brings. Do not label it good or bad. Do not suppress it. Do not act on impulse. Simply observe. By observing, you create space. Space between stimulus and reaction. Space between impulse and action. This space is power. Here, choice emerges. Not reaction, not reflex, but deliberate response. Emotions often lie. They exaggerate threat. They distort reality. They insist that urgency equals importance. Observation allows clarity. Ask, what is this feeling telling me? Is it rooted in fact or assumption? Does it demand action or simply awareness? The mind trained in observation recognizes patterns. Recurring anger, persistent anxiety, compulsive longing, these are clues. They reveal internal vulnerabilities. They reveal habits of thought that weaken resilience. Do not fear these revelations. The dangerous mind uses them. It maps them. It learns from them. Emotions are not commands. They are data. They are indicators. They are opportunities to respond with precision. Observation also reduces suffering. Most emotional pain is self-inflicted. It arises from resistance, from clinging to what cannot be controlled, from judging feelings as wrong. When you observe without judgment, the mind relaxes, the body releases tension, clarity appears. This practice is subtle. It requires patience. It requires repeated attention. Start small. Notice your reaction to minor frustrations. Notice subtle irritation, impatience, or desire. Name the emotion internally. Let it exist. Do not interfere. Over time, the mind becomes a calm observer. The initial impulse to react diminishes. Responses become deliberate. Actions become aligned. Observation also strengthens emotional intelligence. You perceive not only your own emotions but others as well. You notice underlying patterns in conversation, conflict, and behavior. You understand motives without judgment. You respond effectively, not emotionally. The dangerous mind moves in this calm. It does not provoke unnecessary conflict. It does not overreact. It does not seek approval. It observes, it adapts, it acts. Eventually, observation becomes second nature. Emotion no longer dictates the course of life. You remain centered in storm and calm alike. This is the foundation of resilience. Without observation, emotions control you. With observation, you control emotions. And when you control emotions, life does not unbalance you. Challenges become manageable, decisions become clear. Presence becomes unwavering. Resilience is not loud. It does not announce itself. It is the quiet strength of the mind trained to watch, understand, and act with precision. Observation is the first habit of the Stoic mind. It is the doorway to emotional mastery. It is the invisible shield of the resilient. Life is indifferent. Circumstances unfold. Events occur beyond your control. People act according to their own nature. Resistance is instinctive. We fight reality. We wish it were otherwise. We protest against outcomes. Most people suffer here. They wrestle with what cannot be wrestled. They drain energy in frustration, anger, or regret. The dangerous mind acts differently. It observes reality. It distinguishes between what can be influenced and what cannot. It accepts the uncontrollable with clarity. Acceptance is not surrender. It is not weakness. It is not passive resignation. It is deliberate understanding. It is strategic alignment with truth. It conserves energy for what can be changed. Uncontrollable events are inevitable. loss, failure, criticism, disappointment. These are constants in life. To resist them mentally is to invite prolonged suffering. To accept them is to maintain composure, to regain focus, to act where it matters. Acceptance also sharpens perception. When you stop fighting reality, you see it clearly. You see opportunity where others see threat. You see solutions where others see obstacles. The dangerous mind finds calm in acceptance. Calm becomes a source of power. Anger fades, resentment dissolves, fear diminishes. This does not mean ignoring injustice. It does not mean condoning harm. It means understanding what lies within your sphere of influence and what does not. Energy directed at what cannot be changed is wasted. Energy directed at what can be shaped is multiplied. Acceptance also builds resilience. You encounter life's turbulence. You face setbacks. You experience betrayal. The mind trained in acceptance remains steady. It bends without breaking. It flows without being swept away. Daily practice is essential. Notice moments of frustration. Notice irritation at circumstances beyond control. Label them internally. Breathe. Release resistance. Acceptance is not instantaneous. It requires repetition. It requires reflection. It requires humility. Humility to understand that control is limited. Humility to realize that the world operates independently of desire. Over time, acceptance becomes instinctive. Life's unpredictability no longer provokes chaos. Your response becomes deliberate. Your focus becomes precise. Acceptance also cultivates gratitude. By letting go of resistance, you see what remains within your reach. You see opportunity in the moment. You see freedom where others see limitation. The dangerous mind leverages acceptance as strength. It moves through life with less friction. It acts with greater efficiency. It makes decisions unclouded by futile emotion. This habit is the second pillar of emotional resilience. It is the Stoic armor that protects the mind from the storms of life. It allows clarity, stability, and quiet strength. When combined with observation of emotion, acceptance ensures that the mind is unshaken. Emotions are noted, events are understood, and the response is deliberate. Acceptance is not passive, it is strategic. It is an inner freedom. It is the ability to navigate life unhindered by what cannot be changed. The dangerous mind embraces this truth. It conserves energy. It cultivates composure. It builds resilience silently, invisibly, but unshakably. Reflection is the quiet forge of wisdom. Each day presents moments of choice. Actions taken, words spoken, reactions formed. Most allow the day to pass unnoticed. They move from event to event, drifting through experience without pause. Lessons slip away, unexamined. The dangerous mind stops. It looks back. It reviews. It questions itself. Reflection is deliberate. It examines what was done. It evaluates why it was done. It considers what could have been done differently. This is not self-criticism. It is intelligence in motion. Daily reflection uncovers patterns, recurring mistakes, hidden triggers, areas of strength unnoticed in the rush of life. It reveals the subtle ways emotions influence decisions. It highlights how desire, fear, or pride may have guided behavior. The dangerous mind notes these patterns. It does not shame itself. It does not indulge in regret. It observes, understands, and adapts. Reflection also strengthens foresight. By examining yesterday, you anticipate tomorrow. You identify situations where emotions may mislead. You plan deliberate responses rather than reactive impulses. Most people live unexamined. They repeat cycles. They repeat failures. They repeat wasted effort. The mind trained in reflection breaks the cycle. It evaluates what worked, what hindered progress, what can be improved, what is beyond control. This practice builds resilience. Emotional turbulence is softened when you know yourself. Patterns are recognized before they erupt. Responses are calibrated with precision. Reflection does not require long hours. A few focused minutes each day suffice. A journal, a mental review, even a quiet pause in contemplation. The discipline lies in consistency. The power lies in honesty. Honesty with yourself is the foundation of mastery. Without it, reflection is shallow. Without it, learning is incomplete. Reflection also fosters humility. You witness your limitations without ego. You recognize your errors without defensiveness. You see your progress without arrogance. It tempers pride. It balances confidence. It strengthens self-awareness. The dangerous mind does not fear reflection. It embraces it. It invites it. It seeks clarity even when the truths uncovered are uncomfortable. Reflection sharpens decision-making. You anticipate challenges with insight. You choose response over reaction. You direct energy toward what truly matters. Even setbacks become lessons. Even failure becomes guidance. Even discomfort becomes training. This is the essence of emotional resilience. The mind that reflects daily grows impervious to chaos. It does not collapse under pressure. It does not scatter under stress. It remains deliberate, calm, and centered. Reflection also aligns action with values. By examining daily behavior, you identify whether choices align with long-term principles. Misalignment is corrected. Consistency is strengthened. Integrity is reinforced. The dangerous mind becomes self-directed, not swayed by impulse, opinion, or circumstance. It moves forward with purpose and discipline. Habitual reflection transforms life quietly, day by day, thought by thought, action by action. The quiet accumulation of insight becomes strength. A silent shaping of awareness becomes resilience. The unseen discipline of examination becomes mastery. In a world of noise, distraction, and unexamined emotion, daily reflection is a shield. It is a sword. It is the invisible foundation of emotional fortitude. Impulse is the enemy of calm. The first thought, the first urge, the first flash of emotion, most act on it without question. Regret follows. Conflict follows. Energy is wasted. The dangerous mind pauses. It creates space. It observes the impulse. It allows time for reflection. This delay is subtle. It may last seconds. It may last minutes. It may even extend to hours. The mind trained to delay reaction does not act from fear, desire, or anger. It acts from clarity, from purpose, from strategy. Immediate reaction is chaotic. It is raw. It is unrefined. It is vulnerable to misjudgment. Deliberate response is precise. It is controlled. It is aligned with long-term goals and values. Consider anger. Most lash out. Most speak harsh words. Most create consequences they cannot undo. The dangerous mind feels the anger. It notices its rise. It breathes. It delays. And in the pause, choice appears. Words are measured. Actions are calculated. Conflict is neutralized or redirected. The same applies to fear. Fear triggers avoidance. Fear triggers hesitation. Fear triggers paralysis. The mind trained in delayed reaction acknowledges fear. It examines its validity. It acts when appropriate, not when panic demands. Desire, too, must be tempered. The first impulse toward indulgence, distraction, or pleasure may seem urgent. It may seem necessary. The dangerous mind waits. It questions. It measures the cost. It chooses the path of alignment, not the path of impulse. Delaying reaction strengthens emotional resilience. Each pause trains the nervous system. Each pause fosters self-mastery. Each pause creates inner calm. The mind becomes less reactive to external turbulence. It becomes less shaken by provocation. It becomes less dependent on the approval or disapproval of others. Delaying reaction also sharpens perception. You notice subtle cues others miss. You see consequences before they occur. You understand motives before they are revealed. This habit also fosters discipline in communication. Speech becomes deliberate. Conversation becomes meaningful. Conflict becomes manageable. Every delayed reaction is an exercise in freedom. Freedom from emotional slavery. Freedom from compulsive behavior. Freedom from external control. This practice requires patience. It requires consistency. It requires courage. The first moments of emotion demand immediate response. The mind must resist this instinct. It must stand firm in observation. It must choose. Over time, delayed reaction becomes instinctive. Emotions are no longer tyrants. Impulse is no longer master. Behavior is guided by wisdom. The dangerous mind moves in silence and calculation. It does not stumble into conflict. It does not surrender to chaos. It acts with precision, calm, and authority. In life, opportunities for mastery appear in small moments. A sharp word from a colleague, an unexpected setback, an irritation that sparks tension. Each moment is a test. Each pause is practice. Each deliberate response is a strengthening of the mind's core. Delaying reaction is a quiet, invisible habit. It builds resilience without fanfare. It creates strength without display. It shapes character without recognition. In a world driven by impulse, noise, and distraction, this habit distinguishes the calm, resilient mind from the reactive masses. The dangerous mind responds only when clarity arrives. Until then, it waits. It observes. It maintains control. And in that mastery of response, emotional resilience becomes unstoppable. Life is filled with distraction. Endless demands compete for attention. Urgency masquerades as importance. Noise overwhelms clarity. Most scatter their energy. They pursue trivialities. They chase fleeting approval. They exhaust themselves on what has no lasting value. The dangerous mind discerns. It separates the essential from the superficial. It sees beyond the clutter. It identifies what aligns with purpose. Focus is not mere attention. It is alignment. It is direction. It is a constant filtering of what deserves energy. What truly matters is rare. It is quiet. It is subtle. It does not scream for notice. Health, integrity, wisdom, relationships that nourish the soul, work that aligns with principles. The dangerous mind invests in these relentlessly. Everything else is background. Everything else is noise. Distraction is seductive. It promises pleasure, excitement, or escape. It drains energy. It fragments the mind. Focus strengthens resilience. A concentrated mind does not wobble under pressure. A disciplined mind acts with precision. A clear mind perceives opportunity where chaos reigns. This habit requires courage. To focus is to say no to distractions, to decline the trivial, the urgent, the loud, to protect attention like a precious resource. Every yes is a decision. Every no is a shield. Focus is intentional. Focus is defensive and offensive at once. The dangerous mind cultivates habits that reinforce attention. It designs the environment to minimize distraction. It controls digital consumption. It limits time-wasting engagements. It practices solitude. Focus also requires clarity of purpose. Without understanding what matters, focus becomes blind effort. With understanding, focus becomes strength. Each day the mind asks, what deserves my energy today? What aligns with my principles? What moves me toward meaningful goals? The answer guides action. It shapes priorities. It safeguards emotional energy. When the mind constantly disperses attention, emotions are scattered. Stress accumulates. Frustration grows. When attention is honed, emotions are contained. Energy is preserved. Resilience flourishes. Focus also strengthens discernment. The mind notices subtle patterns. It perceives opportunities others overlook. It navigates complexity with calm and precision. This habit is cumulative. Days, weeks, months of directed attention compound. Skills deepen, wisdom expands, composure becomes habitual. The dangerous mind values the present moment. Every action is weighed against its relevance to what truly matters. Time is not squandered. Energy is not wasted. Life is lived deliberately. In a world of distraction, this habit becomes invisible power. It creates clarity where others see chaos. It fosters calm where others feel overwhelmed. It builds resilience where others crumble. Focus is the anchor of the Stoic mind. It is the compass that guides action. It is the filter that protects emotional energy. The dangerous mind cultivates this habit daily. It defends attention. It sharpens priorities. It aligns action with principle. And in this alignment, emotional resilience becomes natural. The mind is steady. The heart is calm. Comfort is seductive. It lulls the mind into passivity. It nurtures dependency. It dulls awareness. Most avoid discomfort. They seek ease. They avoid challenges. They cling to familiarity. The dangerous mind embraces discomfort. It knows that growth is forged in resistance. It seeks moments that test endurance, patience, and focus. It understands that resilience is not inherited, it is cultivated. Discomfort is a teacher. It exposes weakness, it reveals patterns of avoidance, it highlights areas where control is lacking. Training through discomfort is deliberate. It begins small: cold showers, physical exertion, fasting, tasks that push limits without overwhelming. The mind notices, it adapts, it strengthens. Discomfort also teaches emotional regulation. When challenged, the body and mind generate stress. Impulse rises, irritation surfaces, frustration emerges. The dangerous mind does not yield. It observes the rise of emotion. It maintains control. It responds deliberately. Over time, tolerance grows. Challenges no longer provoke panic. Stress becomes manageable. Resilience becomes instinctive. Discomfort trains judgment as well. The mind discerns what is trivial versus essential. It recognizes unnecessary suffering. It acts efficiently. Deliberate exposure to adversity develops mental fortitude. You experience life with sharper awareness. You perceive opportunity amidst challenge. You act with composure under pressure. This habit also cultivates humility. Discomfort reminds the mind of limits. It reveals vulnerability. It teaches patience. It fosters empathy. The dangerous mind does not fear difficulty. It understands that temporary discomfort builds permanent strength. Embracing challenge enhances focus. A mind conditioned by adversity resists distraction. It maintains clarity under duress. It prioritizes what truly matters. Discomfort also cultivates adaptability. Unexpected setbacks are less destabilizing. Life's unpredictability becomes a training ground. The mind responds with strategy rather than panic. This habit requires discipline. It must be resisted. Discomfort is intentional. It must be sought. Every challenge is an opportunity. Every difficulty is a lesson. Every hardship is a stepping stone toward mastery. Gradually, the dangerous mind transforms. Fear diminishes. Impulse weakens. Resilience solidifies. The mind becomes unshakable, not because life is easy, but because it has been trained in the crucible of challenge. The dangerous mind moves forward with courage. It faces uncertainty with composure. It acts decisively despite discomfort. In a world of indulgence, avoidance, and fleeting pleasure, this habit builds invisible power. It strengthens character silently. It fortifies the mind against chaos. The mastery of discomfort is the gateway to emotional resilience. The dangerous mind understands comfort is temporary, resilience is permanent, and the mind is forged strongest where life tests it most. Emotions often exaggerate reality. A slight insult feels like devastation. A minor setback feels like ruin. A fleeting frustration becomes endless suffering. Most minds are trapped in immediacy. They react to the surface without seeing depth. The dangerous mind steps back. It widens the lens. It examines events from a broader vantage. It compares the moment to the arc of life, to time itself. Perspective diminishes urgency. It shrinks the weight of trivial matters. It tempers reactions before they grow destructive. Every challenge is transient. Every difficulty is small when measured against the totality of existence. Every hardship is fleeting when viewed across the span of years. This awareness does not remove emotion. It moderates intensity. It channels energy toward constructive action instead of chaos. Perspective also illuminates relativity. What seems critical now may be irrelevant tomorrow. What provokes anxiety today may appear inconsequential with distance. The dangerous mind internalizes this understanding. It does not overreact to the present moment. It does not let temporary discomfort dominate decisions. Emotional storms are natural. They arise, they fade. Perspective ensures they pass without lasting harm. To cultivate perspective, observe patterns. Notice how past fears were unfounded. Notice how past anger achieved nothing. Notice how past attachment led to suffering. Memory becomes a guide, not a burden. It teaches the mind that intensity is often misplaced. It trains the mind to weigh events accurately. Perspective also reduces comparison. The dangerous mind measures progress and outcomes only against its own values. It does not chase approval. It does not envy. It does not waste energy on imagined competition. This habit fosters patience. With perspective, frustration is softened. With perspective, anxiety is tempered. With perspective, decisions are deliberate rather than impulsive. Daily practice is simple. When a strong emotion arises, pause. Ask, will this matter in a week? In a month? In a year? Step outside the immediacy. Observe the emotion as if it belongs to another. Consider long-term consequences. The dangerous mind uses this space to respond wisely. It transforms raw emotion into actionable insight. It preserves energy for what truly requires effort. Perspective also builds gratitude. By seeing life's trials in context, you notice how much remains intact. You recognize opportunity amid adversity. You value moments of calm that others overlook. The mind becomes resilient because it sees beyond the ephemeral. It stabilizes because it anchors in the bigger picture. It acts with precision because decisions are weighed with clarity. This habit requires consistent attention. Without practice, perspective slips. The mind defaults to immediacy. Suffering returns. With practice, the mind becomes a lens through which life is measured, not a vessel swept by impulse. The dangerous mind cultivates perspective silently. It reduces drama. It minimizes wasted emotion. It strengthens focus on meaningful action. Perspective is a shield, a compass, a stabilizing force. In the face of provocation, the mind remains composed. In the midst of challenge, the mind remains clear. In a world of noise, the mind remains centered. The mastery of perspective is mastery of emotional gravity. It prevents small events from tipping the mind. It allows calm to persist where others falter. This is the essence of Stoic resilience. The dangerous mind sees beyond the immediate, and in that vision, it is unshakable. The mind is never silent. Thoughts flow constantly. Some supportive, many critical. Some calm, some chaotic. Some truthful, many distorted. Most accept this internal chatter as reality. They react to it. They believe it. They surrender to it. The dangerous mind intervenes. It monitors inner speech. It distinguishes between constructive insight and destructive noise. It shapes the narrative rather than being shaped by it. Every thought is a signal. Every idea is a choice. Every inner voice can guide or mislead. Control begins with awareness. Notice recurring patterns. Notice criticism, doubt, and fear. Notice indulgence in negative speculation. Then redirect. Replace rumination with reflection. Replace judgment with understanding. Replace panic with reasoning. The dangerous mind speaks to itself deliberately. It affirms capacity. It acknowledges limits. It cultivates composure. Inner dialogue also shapes emotional resilience. A chaotic mind invites agitation. A disciplined mind maintains calm. Words unspoken internally are as potent as words spoken externally. Control strengthens decision-making. When the inner voice is clear, action is precise. When the inner voice is cluttered, indecision and regret follow. Daily practice involves vigilance. Observe the mind in moments of stress. Notice the inner conversation. Intervene when distortion arises. Over time, the dangerous mind develops mastery. It speaks with purpose internally. It nurtures clarity, courage, and patience. It reduces unnecessary emotional fluctuation. This habit also cultivates autonomy. By controlling the inner narrative, you free yourself from external influence. You act from reason, not opinion. You maintain stability regardless of circumstance. The mind is rarely here. It drifts to the past, replaying what cannot be changed. It worries about the future, anticipating what may never come. Most suffer because they live outside the moment. They lose touch with reality. They trade experience for imagination. They trade calm for distraction. The dangerous mind stops. It returns to now. It notices the breath. It senses the body. It observes surroundings without judgment. Presence is not passive. It is active alignment with reality. It is awareness that does not chase or resist. It is acceptance without surrender. Time is deceptive. The past is gone. The future is uncertain. The present is the only place of action, the only place of power, the only place of resilience. Anchoring in the present reduces suffering. Worry dissipates. Regret softens. The mind gains energy that was lost to distraction. Attention sharpens. Details unnoticed before become clear. Opportunities appear that would have been ignored. Responses are precise, deliberate, and effective. Emotions are tempered. A mind rooted in now is less manipulated by fear, anger, or desire. It responds intentionally. It acts with strategy rather than impulse. Presence also strengthens self-mastery. By observing thoughts without attachment, you prevent them from controlling your actions. You learn to guide your mind instead of being swept along by it. This habit is cultivated daily. Pause, breathe, notice sensations, return to the moment whenever attention drifts. Even brief periods of practice accumulate. The mind grows steady. Calm becomes natural. Resilience becomes instinctive. Presence integrates all other habits. Observation, reflection, delayed reaction, focus, perspective, discomfort, and inner dialogue converge here. They are no longer abstract practices. They manifest as lived experience. The mind becomes anchored, calm, and unshakable. The dangerous mind perceives life without distortion. It acts with clarity. It endures with patience. It thrives under pressure. In a world full of distraction and noise, anchoring in the present is an invisible power. It preserves emotional energy. It strengthens judgment. It fosters unwavering calm. The mastery of the present moment is mastery of life itself. Here the mind is free. Here the heart is steady. Here the spirit remains resilient against chaos. Presence is not a goal to achieve, it is a practice to sustain. It is the culmination of Stoic training. It is the foundation of emotional resilience. To live anchored in the present is to live intentionally. To act deliberately, to think clearly, to endure patiently, and to respond with measured power. This habit completes the architecture of Stoic resilience. It ensures the dangerous mind is composed yet vigilant, calm yet potent, silent yet profoundly effective.